Ready. Hello, folks. Welcome. It is that time of the month. I say that time of the month. It's not necessarily always the same time of the month. If this is your first time coming across me, my name's Lavelda Vincenzi. I'm a moderator, MC, and host. And my superpower is working with female entrepreneurs to teach you how to take that skill called speaking and turn it into cash in your bank account. And around about once a month, I invite somebody from my network to come and host a masterclass for my community, basically anybody in and around my world and theirs, on something generally to do with speaking, but sometimes it's lifestyle in other areas. And I couldn't do this without today's guest, Michelle Raymond. I've known Michelle for a number of years now. I'm sure many of you have come across her before, but if you haven't, Michelle has got this beautiful space of working in the corporate space. So she's worked with a number of large corporate organizations. She also worked in HR for the longest while, and then sort of transitioned a little bit to doing some like coaching, mentoring. But what's really beautiful is she's got all this wisdom about how you get to all these corporate clients. And especially from a speaking space, this chick be flying to Dubai and all sorts of places to speak on stages for companies. And she's just got them eating out of the palm of her hand with significant amounts of cash in a bank account. So I thought, well, hold on a minute. I have a whole bunch of ladies who are interested in learning how to make money from speaking. A lot of them are often thinking, how do I crack this corporate market? I'm guessing if you're here, that's probably you. I could really do with sharing this wisdom. I know there's people who'd like it. So ladies, I don't know if we've got any gentlemen today. We do. Ladies and gentlemen, we do have gentlemen today because sometimes it's all ladies. So sorry to you, gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, and all of those of you in between, because gender's quite fluid nowadays, and I want to be as open as possible. Please, I present to you the incredible, awesome Michelle Raymond with How to Get into Corporates. Michelle, over to you.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. Welcome, welcome. I'm seeing some familiar faces, which puts me at ease. So welcome. And first and foremost, I just want to say thank you for Lavelda for putting on this virtual event where other people can learn how to get into corporates. I've got so much to share. I actually said to Lavelda, oh my God, I've got too much. So I have streamlined it so that I can give enough space for you to ask questions, ask me anything that you want about getting into corporates, around licensing, retainers. So people's going to be at different levels. So I know some people might be starting and thinking, actually, I have existing skills that I can definitely use in the corporate market. And some of you may have had your first, second, or third engagement, and you want to now know how to scale it. So we're going to cover a little bit of everything today. And I've got some slides for you. I will make the recording available and I'll make the slides available because I'm just nice like that. Because I really want everybody here to get at least one engagement. Just one. And I'm going to show you some ways on how you can do that. So I'm going to share my screen with you now. And all I need at this stage is a thumbs up. Can we see? Good. Get into corporates. 3 things to know to secure your first or your next lucrative corporate engagement. So what I want to do now is just find out, to get a temperature check, what do you want to get out of this time that we have together? Let me know. What do you want to get out? Put in the chat for me, please. I have 2 screens, so I will be looking at both screens. Let me know. Now, if anyone says they want me to give them 50K, that's not going to happen. But I did run a challenge and we made over 65,000. So it is possible. It is possible. So do share. Let's have a look what we've got. How to get your foot in the door. Alfia, we are going to cover that and I'm going to give you some nuggets. I want everyone to be making notes, where to start, who to meet, where to go. I'm going to tell you where to go, and we can talk about pricing. We can definitely, I haven't covered it in this session, but that's one of the questions we can definitely cover. Finding the right person to contact. Yes, and it's not always HR. It's not always HR. It all depends on the size of the organization. But yet, hold that question. We can really delve into that. Retainers, real life pounds, testimonials. Yeah, we'll go over that, how to get testimonials. Things we need to know and do to grab our first corporate. Heather, I got you, girl. I've got you covered. Okay, so nothing that you share there is out of the ordinary and is going to make me balk. Oh my God, I can't answer that. So that's perfectly fine. So I've got a few Zoom rules for this presentation. I want us to play full out. I want you to engage. No question is a silly question. Ask me anything you want about getting into corporate. I will share with you my credibility journey. I will share with you some of my clients' credibility journeys, because you may see yourself in some of them. So you know that it is very, very possible and probable. Forget that I knew it already. And the reason why I put that in, because there are some of you that have already been on some of my masterclasses, so you know what I'm like. Don't worry, some of these things you may have heard before, but if you have not done it, you need to hear it again. All right, you need to hear it again. Reduce any distractions. So I have turned off my other notifications because I want to be in the moment. Show up on camera if you can. If you can't, that's no problem. Take notes and let's keep this positive. All right, that's what we're going to be. This is the rule book of today. So just a little bit of information about me for those that may not know me. As has been mentioned already, my name is Michelle Raymond. I'm a leadership development coach and trainer, also a visibility strategist. I run my own business. It's called The People's Partner. It's a coaching and consulting company where we help emerging leaders, we help organizations create future fit leadership pipeline that is diverse. My background is in HR. I've been doing that for over 20 years, so I still have HR clients, but I know there's a Cassandra in the group right now. I will be passing over those work over to you because I don't really do HR anymore. I'm also an international and a TEDx speaker. I speak all over the place. I am working on a booking right now. I will share a little bit about that with you later. And I also head up the Emerging Leadership Program at UCL. And I am also their executive coach lead at UCL. So that's a little bit about me. I'm going to share with you how you too can get into corporates by speaking, get into corporates by meeting specific people. So are you ready, guys? Are you ready? Let me know in the chat if you are ready. Let me know. And I'm going to share with you some information if you're ready. Let me see. I can see it. Good, 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 good. So I have worked with a number of different brands. Some of the brands you may have seen, some of them you may not have seen. With Amazon, Deloitte, Legal & General, I've done a lot of training. I got some of those through referrals. Some of them I got through having conversations with the right people. Some of them I got by having conversations, but not in the boardroom, but somewhere else. And this is why I want to show you, you don't have to be in the boardroom or in a Zoom room to make deals. Deals are made, more deals are made outside of the boardroom. And I want to show you how to do that. So let me show you what we're going to be talking about today, how to attract corporate engagements. I want to show you how you can position yourself and use some tried and tested techniques that always can get you a corporate gig at the end of it. Where to find decision makers, because it's not always the same place where you think. And I want to invite you to have the right corporate conversations. Because right now is the perfect time for any of us, if you're a coach, consultant, a speaker, a facilitator, a counselor, right now is the perfect time to get a corporate gig. Why? Because most of these corporate organizations, from small to medium to large corporates, they want to be more diverse. So they want to have a more sustainable supply chain. So you may know that most of the companies, they may use the likes of McKinsey & Co, Deloitte, they'll use Accenture. They are now moving away from using those types of organizations to work with smaller companies. like ourselves. So this is the prime opportunity because they want to be diverse. They want to be inclusive. They want to be sustainable. So they want to find organizations, small business owners like us. We just need to make ourselves more visible. And look at the figures that they're thinking about paying. I mean, who here wouldn't mind making a 500, wouldn't mind getting a 500K contract? Let me know. Put in the chat if you wouldn't mind getting that. Okay, listen, I'm seeing the comments. Yeah. Now, I wouldn't mind getting that, but I can tell you from now, let me manage your expectations. For you to apply to get a 500K contract, you will have to go through a procurement system. That's not going to be, you will not get a contract like that just by having a conversation with somebody. You would have to go through their procurement system. And if you're a one-man band, a two-man band, a three-man band, you will have to join forces with other coaches, with other trainers or counselors or facilitators, so that when you are pitching, it's a numbers game in the sense of you have a wide network of associates that can help provide the solution. All right, so just to manage your expectations. But if you wanted a 50 grand contract, 100 grand contract, definitely you can do that by yourself. And there are so many companies right now, non-profits, conferences, trade bodies, universities, businesses that are ready to partner with you. So what are you waiting for? What are you waiting for? Your existing skills that you have right now, you can utilize it within the corporates. You just need to know who to say it to. But you might think, but Michelle, why would they want me? It's only me. I'm not a Deloitte, I'm not a McKinsey & Co. I'm not a Gartner HR. Why would they want someone like me? Let me show you something, and I want you to screen grab this. Take a picture of my next slide, because it will tell you the things that you need to say to them, why they will buy you. Competitive pricing. As an entrepreneur, we have lower overheads. So we don't need to go in at a figure at 50,000. We can go in at 35,000 because we have lower overheads. We don't have lots of staff that we need to pay. So we have that on our side. We also have on our side that we're agile, we're nimble, and we're flexible. We don't have a hierarchy that we have to go through to make a decision. This works in our favor. Agile, nimble, and we're flexible. And thirdly, we are responsive to their needs. Now, when they're using the big companies, there are so much hierarchies, there's so much bureaucracy. If the corporate client wants to tweak what they're saying or tweak what they need, with the bigger companies, they have to go through so much red tape to change. But when they're just working with us, we can respond quickly. We can be agile. So these are the three core elements why a company would want to work with you rather than the big brands. So really take note of this slide. If you take nothing else today, which you will, take a note of that. These kind of things need to be in your pitch document. It needs to be in your proposal, when you're having conversations. These are typically the things that need to be shared. But we need to make sure, guys, that we are meeting the corporate buying priority. Let me tell you what I mean. I had somebody who came to me and they said, Michelle, I want to work with you. This was in the middle of COVID. I want to work with you. I'm a corporate photographer and I want to get into corporates. And I didn't take her on. The reason why I didn't take her on is because I knew that taking photos of staff during COVID was not a buying priority. So you need to think about what offers you have, what products and services you have. How does it meet a buying priority? So what does that mean? Does it make the company money? These companies, they want to make money. They're good to spend money on you, but they want to make the money. Does it save them money? How's it going to save? Think about your product, your service, your offer. Will it save them money? Will it save them time? If they buy in your services, are you cutting their learning in half? Are you cutting down the learning curve? That's what you need to ask yourself. Or is it pushing an initiative? Do they have an existing initiative that if we buy in your services, you're going to help push that agenda? That's what you want to be thinking about. Now, guys, if you have any questions throughout this, please put them in the chat, and Lavelda will make a note of that, and I can answer your questions at the end. I just want to go through this. There's sometimes I'm going to ask you questions, then please do share in the chat. But let me know, do you have an offer, a product or service that can make them money, save them time, or push an initiative? If you can't do any of those four, you're not ready for corporates. I'm just saying it as it is. You're not ready, because right now they have money to spend, but only on what is a priority for them right now, or within the next 6 months, or the next calendar year. That is it. They're not thinking further than that right now. Because of all what's happened with COVID and with people, they need to look at things which are a priority for them right now. So let's move on. Have a think about that. Let me show you some ways how you can attract your corporate client. So first of all, and this is an exercise that I have to continue to do with myself, is I need to be clear, what is my ideal client? Who do I want to work with? Yes, I have leadership skills. I work with emerging leaders, and I can do it for every company. But I know that companies want to hire in specialists that know their industry. So this is an exercise that I did, and I would really encourage you guys to do the same. Work out what industry you are familiar with, what industry you want to work in, what industry that you have low-hanging fruit in. Start with that. Yes, I know you can do counseling and well-being for everyone. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear that. They don't want to know you can do it for everyone. They want to know that you can do it for people like us in this sector, in this industry. Now listen to the language I'm speaking, because this is the language of corporates. They don't want to know that you can do everything for everyone. That works within the entrepreneurial field, not in the corporate field. And then I tend to look at the size. What size organization do I want to work with? This will then dictate when I will get paid. Because if I'm working with a company, or if I'm going to pitch to a company that has 100 and less staff, I know that their turnaround time is 30 days. So I know that if I pitch to them, I can get paid within 30 days. But if I'm going for one of the bigger companies, I need to make sure that I've got my own cash flow, because I may not get paid within 30 days. It might be 90 days. Now, we may have our own policies on when we get paid. It doesn't work like that when we're with corporates. We have to work with the corporates' operating ways. So our systems now become obsolete. So I want to make that very clear. I know I have a turnaround time of 7 to 14 days for pay. When I worked with Amazon, that was not happening. So I had to be able to be flexible and adjust. But that's why they worked with me, because if they were working with another company, they wouldn't be flexible. I made sure I have cash flow to keep me for the next 2 months until I get paid by Amazon. So think about size. Some of you want to go for the PwCs and the Marriotts of the world, but be mindful of the payment terms. And location. Where are your ideal clients located? Think about, are they based in the UK? Are they based in Dubai? Are they based in the US? Because that will then have an impact on who you want to work with. So this is an exercise I want you to do. But the second part is you need to become a person of interest and a thought leader. So what do I mean by that? You need to be the go-to person. So let's put it this way. An organization, they may need somebody to come in and help them with communication and presentation skills. The CEO is not on LinkedIn looking for you. They're not on LinkedIn looking for me. The CEO is not always the decision maker. The CEO will probably field it out to the operations manager, the ops manager, the office manager, or the HR. And it's them that They will go onto LinkedIn, they might have a look around, they might use certain hashtags to find certain people. So you need to make sure that you're having consistent content either on YouTube, on LinkedIn, on whatever social platforms that you use, or online, so that you're easily found. And you need to be consistent in your theme. So I know there's someone on here who talks about, or used to talk about, a lot around divorce. Now, how can divorce work for corporates? Does it seem like it's a buying priority? How can you shift that and become a thought leader for corporates? So it may be under well-being. Most companies have an EAP program, an employee assistant program. And that's how you can join forces with them and support them, those people who are going through divorce. That's how you can make it a priority. And your leadership, your thought leadership work is, you'll be talking about it. There'll be videos of you talking about that and why that relates to employees. Are employees, do they have lower productivity? Are employees have lower morale? Or they're not showing up when they need to? Do you have work? Do you have content that exemplifies your expertise? Because this is what my research found, that 47% of C-suite executives said they will share information with sellers after reading quality thought leadership from the brand. 47%. And then 58% said that they are willing to choose a business based on thought leadership content. 61% said they are willing to pay a premium to work with a brand that articulates thought leadership. Now, let me tell you what thought leadership isn't. Thought leadership isn't going on LinkedIn and saying the 5 ways to be productive. That's not thought leadership. Thought leadership isn't 7 ways to turn around, 7 ways to make your staff work better. That's not thought leadership. Thought leadership is getting into the mind, the nuances of the industry, the nuances of the sector, and really dissecting and understanding their critical pain points. And then you create an article or a blog post around those pain points, talking to strategic leaders. So if you're doing the 5 steps too, that's not going to work. That's not thought leadership. So let's take it one step further. You have your thought leadership content. Now, how do I get into the corporates with some of the things I know around strategy, around leadership, around communication, performance management, around well-being? You want to do a number of these. You want to be running executive roundtables, lunch and learns, some audits and assessments, some live demos, or putting on power breakfasts or power lunches. Now, I did a masterclass just on lunch and learns and executive roundtables. And from that masterclass, we deduced that if you go into a company, or if you find the right person and you say, I would love to deliver an executive roundtable with your leaders, or do a lunch and learn with your employees, or with the management team, or the marketing team, or the sales team. And on the back of that, I will be able to give you the results. If you were to go in and do that, and you can charge for it if you want, I would say probably don't charge, especially if you're unknown, if you're an unknown entity to this company. But go in and you do that, it will yield to work in the aftermath. I can guarantee you that. I have never once done an executive roundtable or lunch and learn and never got work on the back of it. Never. I did this with Legal and General. I delivered a lunch and learn for 45 minutes talking about personal branding for leaders. On the back of that, they had called me back in to say, can I now pull this out and can I now deliver a half-day workshop on it? I said, yes, I can. So let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat, thinking about what your expertise and your background, which one of these could you do? Whoa. Please remain on mute. If it's executive roundtables, they are usually for the leaders. Lunch and learns is usually for employees. You could do some pre-recorded webinars. Power breakfasts could be a mixture of both. You can do some audits and assessments, like some surveys. Let me know in the chat. Let's have a look. Roundtables, Cassandra, most definitely. Lunch and learns, brilliant. Right, see that some of you already done that. I would really love to know towards the end, what was the outcome? Assessments are brilliant, Charlotte. And I don't know, I'm not here to market it, but Score App is brilliant. Daniel Priestley has a brand called Score App, and it's really good for surveys. So just for anyone who wants to do any surveys. Ask the Experts, brilliant. I did Ask the Experts, and I did it in a co-working space, and I called it HR Hours. And they paid me to come in on a Friday afternoon, just to be in a room, and people in the co-working space used to come to me and ask me any HR questions. So HR Ask the Experts is a brilliant way. Awesome. Audits, assessments, brilliant, brilliant. Keep them coming, guys. So let me ask you a question. Do you know what the corporate buying areas are? Do you know what they are right now? So for example, like this other person that I was talking about, who was a photographer, at the time, it was not a priority. It may be a priority now, but it surely wasn't during COVID. So do you know what the priorities are? If you don't, I'm going to show you. These are some of the priorities. Have a look at them. Let me know, do you fit into any of them? Let me know in the chat. Which ones do you fit into? Some of you might be able to do communications and building and cultivating trust. You could do customer service, and you could be able to do leadership and development. Just put one in the chat. Which one do you have the expertise in, the experience, the passion, and you have the opportunities? Let me know, which one? Let's have a look. Teamwork, Debbie, good. Yeah, teamwork is massive, especially now we're working remotely and hybrid. Teamwork, team building, awesome, awesome, awesome. Health, well-being, E&I, most definitely Melanie. Tamara, change management, yes, yes, yes. There's so many companies that need change management support right now. Tamara and Felicia, get out there. No, you need to find these companies. They are out there. I know that for a fact. Mindfulness, definitely Pamela. Leadership, Felicia, always. Leadership's always going to be a top priority. What else have you got? What else have you got? Keep them coming. Supporting parents. Debbie, okay, I like that. Supporting parents. How can that be a priority? Have a think through, and let's talk about it at the end. How can supporting parents be a commercial corporate priority? Brilliant. I like this, Sue. Diversity and inclusion, but not in the traditional sense. Okay, I would love to hear more about that. Good. Keep them coming. Awesome. Awesome, awesome. So the whole point of this, guys, is that people need to know what you're doing. I get a lot of work through referrals because I talk a lot. I do lots of videos. I show up on social media a lot, and I go to lots of events. This is how I get most of my work. I get less work through pitching. I teach how to pitch effectively because there's going to be an element of pitching, even though I got referred. But you get most of the work by being visible. And Lavelda is a testament to this. I remember when Lavelda pivoted from showing people where to find speaking engagements to the point of how to position yourself as an expert speaker so work comes to you. You've got to be talking to more people. The more people you know, and the more people that know about you, the more referrals you get. Just today, I got another referral. And I keep these as leads, so I know how to follow up what needs to be sent out at a specific time. So let me know, keep them coming. The more people that know about you, how many people know about you and what you can do for their staff, what you can do for their teams. How many corporates know about you? Because I know I had a conversation just today. I had another conversation last week And they're saying to me, but Michelle, where are these people? Where are they? And I say, they exist, they are there. So I come to you and I'm saying, you need to be more visible. You need to be speaking to more people. You've got to be engaging in dialogue about what you do all the time. You need to be speaking to the insiders. Those are people who are already in corporate, like the employees. You need to be speaking to the influencers. They may be the gatekeepers. They may be the PAs, the executive assistants. There are events happening next year which are run just for PAs that you need to be at. Why? Because it's the PAs that have the seat at the table with the CEO. They know what's on the agenda. They know what's on the calendar. So I want everybody right now to look at the PA show, which is happening next year. Get involved. Make sure you're at the event. The PA show. Okay, good. So far, guys, are you liking what's being said? Let me know before I continue, because if you don't like it, I'll stop now. If you don't like it, I'll stop now. But if you like it, I will continue. Let me know in the chat. Let me know in the chat. Brilliant. Thank you, Lavelle, for sharing that. You need to be where the PAs are, the executive assistants, the operational managers, the HR people. That's where you need to be. Awesome, awesome. Right. Let me show you where to find decision makers. I'm going to blow your mind. I'm going to blow your mind in the nicest possible way. Online. Now, guys, I've already talked about thought leadership content, but you need to also look at the job boards on LinkedIn. Look at the job boards. So you might say, why should I look at the job boards? When a company is hiring, they use LinkedIn as one of their premium places for job boards. If they are hiring, that means there's shifts and changes going on within the company. They may be hiring for an accountant. So there's going to be shifts happening with the company, and you can go into that company, you can find who the hiring manager is, it usually has it on the job spec, and say, I know you're looking for an accountant, but what else is going on within the company that I might be aware of that I can help you with? They might be having some shifts, more leaders, so there might be space for coaching. So you're not interested per se in the job, it's what does that new job entail for you as an entrepreneur, as a business owner? Do they need more coaching? Will they need some consultation in terms of the job hire? You might look at the job spec and you may see there are pockets of problems in the job spec. If you're in HR, I know some of you are on HR there, then you go back to them and say, I'm not looking for a job, but I've noted you've got this job spec up. Do you know that you can increase the amount of applicants you go by just changing one sentence? What does that do for that person? It shows them that you're an advisor. It shows them that you're a consultant, you're a coach. You're asking them for nothing back in return. You're just showing some nuggets of wisdom, and you're positioning yourself as a consultant without saying a word. Online as well, corporate blog posting. There are so many corporate blogs out there that are looking for guest posters, guest blog writers. Now look at it this way. Every company, well, most big companies, they may have magazines or blogs that they subscribe to. Can you imagine if you've written something about well-being in a remote world, well-being in a hybrid workforce? They see you've written about it, and then they want to put on a conference, and they're thinking, who can we speak to? I don't know anyone. They haven't been referred anyone. But then they remember reading that article where you've talked about well-being in a hybrid workspace. It's a no-brainer, people. It's a no-brainer. We are so equipped with the right knowledge. People just need to see you. They need to see you. You can send out emails. And there's, even when you're sending out cold emails, and I'm going to show you, because at the end, I'm going to show you something. And I have put together over 20, I think, ways that you can email a corporate to get your emails read. Who wants that? Let me know in the chat. I know some of you have sent out emails and you're getting ghosted. But if you want that, let me know Just put in the chat, me, if you want to know 20 different ways to email a corporate or a decision maker and get that answered, get a response, then let me know in the chat. Use Twitter. Twitter will be your best friend. Have you been on Twitter lately and seen the opportunities to work with corporates? I was just on it last week and I shared it within my my Facebook group. And I said, guys, get on this. And I say to them, please do not be in this group and be passive. I share opportunities with you all the time. There are opportunities on Twitter looking for people like us. So get on Twitter. Team up with your competitors. And really and truly, I should call that team up with your collaborators, because there are people already out there in the space that you want to occupy. Don't try and reinvent the wheel. Why don't you team up together? When I used to do HR, I mentioned it before, there was an EAP, yeah? It's called the Employee Assistant Program. And that's companies will use them for health, wealth, money management. So what I used to advise is for people, if they wanted to pitch to my company, pitch to the company that I was working for, why don't they pitch to the EAP program and actually get to work together? So if you offer divorce, for example, support, you can work together with the EAP program, because they may not offer it, but you work with them and then you end up working for the corporates. So there's different ways. Most people just go in through the front door, but I want to encourage you to go in through the back door, the side door, and the window. All right? Speak on company webinars. Guys, let me give you a tip. I'm going to drop you a nugget. Sign up to brighttalk.com. Lavelda, can you put that in the chat? brighttalk.com will be your best friend. It is a corporate webinar platform where if you are skilled in a particular area, it could be IT, it could be health, it could be wellness, whatever it is, you can run a session on brighttalk.com and different corporates register. And what they do, you can see all the attendees, you can see what companies they are from, and you get access to their emails. brighttalk.com. Let me know if that was a worthy nugget. Please, please sign up. Please sign up. I have made so many connections with people from Bright Talk. Even I haven't delivered anything on Bright Talk as yet, but I will go on and I will watch something which is relevant to my area. And then I can see who else is on there. And I can see what companies they're from. And then all I do is copy and paste their name. I go into LinkedIn, I drop it in there, and I'll say, I can see that we're both live on this webinar together. This is where I work and this is what I do. I would love to connect with you. I expand my network all the time, guys. And because Bright Talk is specifically for corporates, it's not a B2C platform, it's a B2B platform. So guys, get on there, get on there. Right, let's move on, let's move on. Off. Oh, I've got another tip for you, I've got another nugget. Screenshot the next page. Look at this, guys. These are blogs that are looking for guest bloggers right now. And this is fresh off the press. I only shared it with my network in my Facebook group, but I'm sharing with you guys today. Look what we have. If you're into business, Business Insider right now are taking guest bloggers. If your expertise in family circle, LA Parent, lifestyle, Elite Daily, health and wellness, definitely reach out to Greatest. Definitely reach out to Greatest, because they syndicate their work, which means when you write for Greatest, they then send it to other magazines. So you might not even need to write for Mind, Body, Green, because they are part of the syndication. All right. Let me know when you've screen grabbed that, because it's going to go. These are places you can blog for. Everybody should be able to blog. If you can speak, you can blog, because all you need to do is transcribe what you say. Go to Psychology Today, Purpose Theory, Blinkist. They are looking for guest bloggers. Think about it. If you're in Marie Claire, Glamour, Refinery 29, who are actually clients of mine, or used to be clients of mine, let's be honest. They used to be clients of mine. They are big, big brands. All right, good. All right, let's move on. I want to show you some offline activities now. Industry related events. Go where they are. Don't sit and wait for them to come to you. Go where they are. If there is an industry event coming up, go to it. Pay your £50, your $50, your $90, and be present. Let me tell you the magic that happens when you're in the room. When you open your mouth and you share what you can do, you win clients consistently on tap. So go to those events. Join private members clubs. I don't know how many of you are part of a private member club. Please put in the chat. Go to hotels. Go to art galleries, fundraising galas. Do you know what I do? This is how anal I am, guys. Once a year, I go to awards dinners. Not because I've been nominated, not because I'm a finalist. I go because I know that other winners, other finalists will be there. I go because I know corporates will be there. So I have just seen, yesterday when I was doing some research, there's an award ceremony coming up called the CEO Awards. I will be buying my ticket to attend if I'm in the country. Why? Because other CEOs of big corporates are going to be there. And if I'm there and I'm on a table of 10, I've paid my, I don't know how much the tickets are going to be. It could be £200. But what's £200 if I know that if I build this relationship with the CEO, I can make 5, 10, 15K at the back of it. The return on investment is mind-blowing. Let me know. Let me see in the chat. Any one of you are part of Toastmasters? Brilliant, is great. How many of you are part of members? I'm part of the Dubai Business Women Council. I'm based in the UK. I'm still part of them. Why? Because I'm trying to build a network of corporates out in Dubai. So I attend their events. Some of them might be online, but when I'm over in Dubai, I go in person. I participate. I am part of their mentoring program. I actually am now working with Visa. One of my mentors is someone from Visa, literally because I am part of the membership. So you're thinking about, who do I email? Who do I find on LinkedIn? How about going to a fundraising gala? Let me tell you what I'm doing this week to put it into context for you. I have paid my money to attend this polo event on Saturday. Do I pay polo? No. Have I ever played polo? No. But that's not the point. I'm going because I know there's going to be affluent, high net worth individuals there. So I have my outfit, I have my little hat, and I will have my phone with me. I'm going to be ready to add them on my LinkedIn. I'm going to be conversating over Courvoisier. That's how we roll. Let me ask you a question. Where are you going to be this Saturday? What is in your diary to meet people? And then on the 1st of September, around my birthday, I'm going to the Networks of Power dinner. Why? Because there's going to be powerful people in the room. Remember what I said, most business deals are made outside of the boardroom, outside of those emails. Where are you going to be in September the 1st? Where will you be? What types of memberships? The Arts Club, Soho House, they're the images of Arts Club and Soho House below. When you are actually there, you are around powerful people, people that need support, need what you have. But because just by nature of being present, they speak to you. They want to hear what you've got to say. They are willing to listen. This is outside networking events when everybody is hustling and bustling. And when you're talking to them, they're looking over there. They're looking over your shoulder. But when you're at the Arts Club, you sit down and you drink. You're drinking red wine. You might have steak, or if you're a vegetarian, you might be having a vegan dish. And you're sitting, you're talking business. Don't worry, I'm going to tell you what to say when you're at Soho House or at the Arts Club. So let me know in the chat, are you ready to join some memberships. And some of them are not expensive. The one I've joined is £100 for the year. This luxury polo event that I'm going to cost me 150 quid. Are you willing to step out of your comfort zone and meet high profile, high net worth individuals who own estate agents, property companies, yachts? Are you ready for that? Because this is what we're talking about here. When I'm talking about working with corporates, I want you to think big. I want you to start with running an executive roundtable, and then come in and running a short program. And then I want you to move it forward and to deliver a 1-year program. And then I want you to move on and deliver a 3-year program. This is how it starts. This is how it starts. So, but the problem is, guys, let me tell you the problems. There are 3 problems, right? Right now, you're not talking to enough decision makers. You're not. Because you'll say to me, where do I find them? You're not talking to enough. You're not going to enough events. You're not going to enough galas. You're not going to enough industry events. There's not enough thought leadership work out there on the Ethernet. So right now you have a visibility and proximity problem. But I've shown you some ways that reduces that problem. Another problem is you're speaking to a decision maker, but they don't want to be sold to. You're speaking like a salesperson. You have to make sure that what you have to offer is relevant and urgent. You need to be selling them something that's relevant today and urgent today. And when I say today, as in the next 6 months. Don't give them a solution that they'll need in 2 years' time. That's not a priority for them. But if you're talking about the state of their leadership team, if you're talking about imposter syndrome within women, why there's not enough women in the boardroom, there are not enough Black or Asian people in the boardroom, only 3%, that is a problem right now. That's a problem for them right now. Then they'll listen to you. You're having the wrong conversations with decision makers. You're talking about something that they don't want to hear. What problem is that? That's a control and clarity. You're not clear on the solutions you provide. You know, when people say, what do you do? What is the solution, the corporate solution? Be clear about that. Let me show you how to have those conversations. Are you ready? Let me know in the chat if you are ready to have those conversations. Let me see. Awesome. Your current prospect corporate, they want to hear from you. But the problem is you have an issue in articulating the problem. And then you almost have an issue in articulating the solution. It's too airy-fairy. So some of you might do mindfulness. What are the tangible solutions to the mindfulness challenge? Just saying that people will be more engaged is not good enough. Saying it's going to help with the turnover of staff, not good enough. What are the tangible metrics? What are the problems and what are the solutions? So let me hear in the chat, put in the chat, please. What are the corporate problems you solve? Listen to what I've said. What are the corporate problems you solve? If you're a well-being expert, what is the problem you solve? Let me just see a couple in the chat. You may need to think about it, which is fine. We've got time, we've got time. What are the corporate problems you solve? So for me, I help organizations future fit their leadership pipeline. The problem there is that they have lots of leaders at the top who are leaving, who are passing away, who are exiting the business. So now they need to hire the next line of leaders, but they want to be now diverse. So that's the solution I provide to their problem. I know so many organizations where their top leaders are leaving, they're passing away, they're being made redundant, they're retiring, and they're looking who's next in line. But do we need them to look like the people who have just left, to speak like the people that just left? I'm there to step in the gap and say, no, let's look more diversely for your next leadership. So let me know. I can see the numbers, so let's open that up. Right, so I'm going to challenge you guys. Staff well-being and retention. But what is the problem? What's the problem? Is the problem in the organization that people are going off sick? When you're saying well-being, Kim, is the problem that people are leaving? Lots of people are leaving the organization. So if you're going to say staff well-being and retention, I would want you to pick a company, any company. Let's say, let me think of a company, Mac products. Let's think of Mac, yeah? For you to say to them that I help with staff well-being and retention, I would have expected you to have looked on their company website. I would have expected you to look at their press releases. I would have asked you to look at Gartner HR to find out what's happening within the makeup and cosmetic industry. And it should say somewhere that there's been a high turnover of staff, that people are leaving, people feel stressed, there's burnout. So then when you're going to them and say, I help with staff well-being and retention, because according to statistics in the cosmetic industry, this is what's happening. Do you see the difference? Just by saying staff well-being and retention isn't enough. It's a good start, but you follow the sentence because you know what's happening within the industry and the sector. Awesome. First-time managers who struggle leading a new team. That is a problem. And the problem there is the first-time managers work peer-to-peer, and now they have to lead and manage them. So there's a disconnect. That's the problem. So you go in there. Awesome, awesome, awesome. What else have we got? What else have we got? We have diversity, equity, and inclusion challenges. Right, so you delve deeper. Because some companies, and I know this for a fact because I did some training with a big brand bank, and they said, well, we don't have any problems with diversity because we're still getting people coming in. So you need to show them the problem if they don't become inclusive within the next year, what will happen to the organization, and show them their competitors that have moved with the times so that they can see. Oh, awesome, awesome, brilliant. So let me give you a little example of somebody who's done this and continued to do this. Lavelda. Lavelda solves a corporate problem. A corporate might say, we want to continue to deliver these high-end quality events. We want to be more diverse, but we just cannot seem to find diverse speakers or diverse hosts. In comes Lavelda, who's a world-class master of ceremonies and moderator, who has a background in event creation. She's done this for conferences, private fashion shows, retreats. She understands firsthand the experience that the companies want for their guests. Do you see the problem? Many companies now, they are running events and they are looking for diverse speakers, whether they be women, whether they be people who are neurodiverse, but they just don't know where to look. But if you make yourself visible, they will find you. All right, so good. Let me show you now how to set up these conversations. This is called, this is my corporate conversation framework. The setup, establish the gap, establish the credibility factor, and the next steps. These are the 4 things you need. You need to set up your conversation. Whoever you're speaking to, you want to remind them why they booked a call with you or why you're booking the call with them. And I want you to use that time to brainstorm together. Just before I had this session, I was on a call with somebody, and this is exactly what I did. I used my own steps. I set it up, and rather than me just tell them what I think I can do, I wanted us to brainstorm together because I wanted to make it a collaborative affair. So you want to do the setup right. And I have some tools for you that will walk you through what you should be saying in step 1. In step 2, you want to establish the gap. Understand where they are now and where they want to be. Take yourself out the picture. Take your offer, your service out, and just listen. Listen to what they are saying. So I had a conversation today and they said to me, Michelle, we want you to come in and talk about white privilege. I said, are you ready for that? Are you ready to really hear what it means to have white privilege? And they said, tell me more. So then I told them, and I said, I'm happy to do this, but I need everyone to be open and ready to receive and be ready to change. So understand their vision. I had to understand, why do you want this? Why is this an issue? Why is this important right now? That's the question. Ask them why it's important right now. Because then you get that urgency and relevancy. Remember what I talked to you about the problems. Determine the barrier. Find out, what have you tried in the past? Why hasn't it worked? Or why have you not tried anything? Explore the value. What if I come in and do this for you? What are you looking at? What are you expecting the return on investment to be? Guys, take note of what I'm saying because I'm giving you tips throughout this presentation. What are the likely return on investments you want to see? Not what you can give, what do they want to see? You need to manage their expectations. What metrics are you expecting to see on the back of my intervention? What metrics are you hoping to see on the back of my intervention? Let them tell you and dictate to you so that you know whether you can do this or not. And determine what success looks like, because what success looks like to me may not mean the same to you. So ask them, what does a successful project look like? So if I came in and I delivered this talk for you, how do you want people to feel and think and behave after they have heard me for this one note, this one keynote? These are how you establish the gap. Step 3, the credibility factor. This is where you boast. And I know some of us are British, not all of us here are British, I know that. But this is where you blow your own trumpet. First of all, you clarify the needs again with them. And then share some examples, some case studies of where you have done something similar. It may not have been the same, but you've done something similar. Share some options with them. When you're in the conversation with them, you want to say, well, I've got a few options for you. Can I share them with you? Only share 3, never more than 3. You share the options and say to them, which one sounds like for you? Which one sounds okay for you? So I had a conversation, like I said earlier, and they asked me, Michelle, roughly how much would this cost? And they just wanted a 3-hour session. So I said, I've done something similar and I charged them £3,000. So now you have an idea of roughly how much it may cost. It may be a little lower, it may be a little higher. But when you give them the figure, then they know how much to pay back. They didn't gas at it, they didn't be surprised. But once I put my pitch and proposal together, I can put a defined cost to it. Recap with them and find out if there's anything else. And I always do this because they might say, actually, there is one more thing, Michelle. And I'm thinking, come with it, because I'm ready. Always ask them, have I captured everything? Is there anything missing? Is there anything you want to add? Step 4 is the next steps. Because really what we want to do is get their buy-in. We want them to say, yeah, I kind of like what I'm hearing. So when you say, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put together a game plan. I'll put together an agenda. I'm going to put together a plan of how it will work. Will Thursday be good for you? No, actually Friday might work better. That's fine. And you make sure you get that to them by Friday, or you make that phone call on Friday. Because corporate conversations, when you're having those conversations, it leads to this. Something I got just last week, or the week before actually now. where they want to have a conversation with me. They want to know, can the people's partner deliver on this? How much would it cost? And what would the sessions look like? Corporate conversations, the right ones, lead to this. This is a client of mine. She put in a proposal after having the right conversations. Started off in 7.5K. Since then, it's gone up to 12.5K as of today. When you're having the right conversations with the right people, it leads to this. Somebody getting their very first retainer contract. She started off doing something small. And she said, this is not going to be enough for transformation. I want to present working with you for a year. I'll show you what it looks like and let's map out if this can work. And this was for a sportswear. I'm not going to say the name, but the trainers are there. She got this corporate contract with that brand. And then this, I wanted to get in touch to see if you can support Amazon in speaking to a group of financial professionals for an hour. They only gave me an hour session. I understand that you have previously spoken at Amazon and you were recommended to us. When you do a good work, it gets recommended. I did that hour with them and I said, if the financial professionals liked it, how about the marketing? How about the sales team? How about the other teams that you have and other departments? And what they did, they agreed to it. And they rolled out for the next 6 months. I was doing sessions with the different departments in Amazon. So guys, what's stopping you? What's stopping you right now? What is the one thing that is stopping you? Let me know in the chat. Do you think you have enough to go out there and have those conversations? Go to one of these members clubs, find out how much it is to have a membership here, or to start putting your thought leadership work out on LinkedIn or on Google, to blog post. Easy, because you've got the knowledge already inside you. What's stopping you? Let's see. 8 months. So Debbie said it's taken 8 months to get a meeting with. It takes long. Well, not all the time. Sometimes it takes long. Depends on the size of the organization, yes. But now you're in, Debbie. Your feet are in. It only goes up from there. It only goes up from there. Tamara said, not being in your program. Come join. I'm not even here to sell the program. I'm not even here to sell the program. I want to see more of us in corporates. I want to look and I can see, oh my gosh, that lady, she was in Lavelda's Masterclass and now she's doing some work with a brand, with Sainsbury's, with Amazon, with LinkedIn. It's so possible. I can tell you right now that the Marriott Hotel, Mars Bar, and who was the other one, Michelle? I just lost my mind. But all I know that Marriott Hotel and Mars Bar, those two brands right now, they are on the lookout for small businesses like us. I know because I spoke to them last month. They are looking for business owners. And actually, they're looking for women-owned businesses. So for any women in the house, go find your Mars Bar. Go to the Mars Bar website. Go to their procurement department. If you work with me, I can give you more details, but you know, I'm not here. I'm not here to sell working with me.
Michelle, I ain't here to sell working with me, but let me just sell it a little bit.
I might build seed.
Just to let you know, I've been taking a note of some of the questions that have come in. At the moment, I've got like 4 of them sat here that came through throughout the presentation. Yes. So when we get to Q&A, we can start with those.
We are going to do Q&As. So this is what I want you guys to do. Get your questions ready. Get your questions ready. Ask me anything about getting into corporate, who to speak to, when to speak to them, whatever. This is what happened with Karen and Patricia, who got their first clients. They had one session with me, and that's it. Got her first client, and she wants to get another one by the end of the year. We've got Janine and Philip, who use this conversation toolkit, which I'm going to share with you now, and they got 2 clients, 3 clients, just by following the steps. And what you need to do, if cash flow is a problem, go for a smaller company. You get paid in 30 days or in 60 days. If you're going to go for the bigger ones, make sure you have cash flow. This is why I always say this, working with corporates, can be an add-on to what you already have. So you're already selling B2C. Why not sell B2B as well? All right. So guys, in closing, have you learned something today? Let me know. Have you learned something? I want to know. Please let me know. Was it valuable? Did you learn something valuable? Brilliant. I like to see it. Good, good, good. Because I don't want to be here wasting anyone's time, least of all my own. And can I share one last thing before Q&A? Just one last thing. I want to share this with you. I want to give you all this. Well, not give you, I'm going to sell it to you actually. My corporate conversation toolkit, because it works every time. It works every time. In this toolkit, this is what you're going to get. I have put together how to find corporate decision makers on LinkedIn and Google. But not only have I shown you, I have shown you what to type in, when to use the hashtags, and when to use quotation marks, because those have an impact on who you're looking for. That alone is worth the money. The second thing I definitely want you is the corporate outreach emails. I mentioned it already today. I think I've done 15 or 20 of them. It covers everything from cold emails to warm emails to hot emails, and it works. Tried and tested. Then I want to share with you 10 things to look for online, because before you have those conversations, I need to tell you where to look online to get more intelligence and insight about those companies. That is worth the money itself. And then I want to also give to you the steps. Remember the corporate framework? Because I've got little scripts that you say in each of those steps. I want to give you all of that. So let me know in the chat, how much do you think that's worth? Let me know in the chat. You get the toolkit, you get the conversation frame, you get 10 common mistakes that people do. I've also done a video for you, 10 things to find online, how to find decision makers, and the corporate outreach emails. I just want to see some figures. Oh, £1,000. Yes, Lavelda, if only. Alfred said priceless. Let me see some more figures. Just don't worry, you might get it wrong. It doesn't matter. Just tell me, how much do you think all of that is worth? Understand, this is taken from my work, other people that get corporate engagements, my associates that get corporate engagements, and people that I've worked with in the network. I've put them all there for you. Let me know. Put some figures down. Let me know. Let me know. 1,000, yeah, 497, 3,000, yep. I love these figures, guys. I really love these figures, because it's none of that. It's none of that. Because I want to make sure every single one of you buys it, I've done it next to nothing. You get all of that for $97. That's it, $97. And the reason why I've done it, and I've given the frameworks and the templates, the checklist and the videos, the reason why I've done it so low, because cash flow is not a problem for me. Being honest, cash flow is not a problem. I'm not doing this for money. I make my money. Understand, I make my money. I have properties, people. I have houses. I make my money. So I am doing this because I want to see people like us, me, you, everybody on here getting into corporates, having the right conversations, having the confidence to get in. If I can do it, and trust me, there's nothing particularly special about me, you can do it. You just need to know what to say, where to look, and how to connect with them. And I covered you all. I've covered you all. And then plus, I want to give you 30 FAQs. Any questions? These are questions that I've accumulated, and I've given you in-depth responses and links as well. So you also get that. I want to give it all to you for $97. What is that? 85 quid? I'm not even sure. But all of that, because I think you're worth it, and I want you all to purchase it. So this is how you do it. You can either, Lavelle's going to put the link in the chat, or you can use the QR code, whichever works for you. Go ahead, buy it, download it, let me know how you go. And for the people who do that, and you may need an extra support in an area, then let's have a call. And I'm happy to share my wisdom with you to get you into those corporates. I need us to dominate. Accenture, goodbye. McKinsey, goodbye. Deloitte, PwC, goodbye. Because these companies want to work with sustainable companies, smaller businesses. They want to diversify their supplier chain. This is your time, people. This is your time. So take a note of that QR code. The link is also in the chat. I want you now to ask me whatever you like. I'm going to come off share so I can see your beautiful faces. Guys, over to you.
So Michelle, let's get into this. I'm going to look at the ones that are in the chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
And I've got like a thing telling me to unmute myself. I'm already unmuted, but okay, then Zoom.
So guys, before we go to the Q&As, Lavelle,
so what I'm going to do, I'm going to grab some of the questions that came in through the chat. I'm going to keep an eye on the chat as well. So here we go. What were people asking? Where's my little chat? Why has it disappeared all of a sudden? Okay, here we go. So earlier on, Sue said, when we were talking about the part where you're talking about meet a priority that they have right now, Sue was asking, what if they don't know that they need it now? Like, what if we're aware that it's a thingy, but they don't realize it's a priority? Like, how do we bring those things two things together?
Great question. So you have to make them see the priority. So this is where you have to do your due diligence, your homework, and your intelligence. If you're speaking to a company and they can't see that they need it, give them examples of what could happen if they don't get your solution. If you know other companies that have brought on a similar solution to what you provide, mention them as well, because it's not uncommon at all that these companies, some of them don't even actually know they have a problem. And it's for you to identify that problem by saying, this is what will happen. I did this with a bank and they saw that they had no problems at all. And I said, well, look around the room. I'm speaking to just white men in leadership. You're all directors ahead of. Where is the problem? And I told them, like the likes of the Metro Bank and what's the other one begins with S, those banks, they are now reaching out to a younger demographic and they are doing much better than some of the bigger banks. So they are going to become obsolete. When I said that, the penny dropped. So it's your job to identify what the problem will be if they don't get your solution.
You're taking it a couple of steps further. Sue, I can see you had something to add to that question, so I'll pick that up and then go back to the other ones that had come through sooner.
Yeah, there's no single company in the whole of the UK got a family transition policy.
A family transition policy.
Yeah, so that incorporates separation and divorce.
Okay.
And it's costing the economy £13.4 billion a year. You know, so how do I persuade them that to set up support mechanisms would save them money, not cost them money?
Right. So to answer me this question. Why would that be a corporate problem? Because that's all they're interested in. Most corporates, I'm going to tell you this, they don't really care what's going on in the world. They want to know, how does it become my problem? So how can you make that their problem?
Yeah, because when people are going through divorce, their productivity drops off by 40%.
Right.
And it lasts for anything up to 5 years.
Right.
But it's not just them, it's the team that they work with.
Mhm.
Has a knock-on effect.
So
And then
this
you've
is what
got
you can do.
presenteeism, you've got absenteeism, you've got, you know, people going off sick, people actually leaving, and then of course they've got recruitment and retraining problems. And we all know that it's so difficult to recruit good people these days.
Mhm. So there you go. You've answered your own question. All what you've just shared with me, this needs to be in your conversation. This needs to be in any pitch documents that you're sending out to them, where now you are leveraging what's happening in greater society. You're bringing it down to the company level so that they can see what is likely to happen if they don't get an intervention like yours.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Definitely.
I've written the policy document with an HR consultant.
Awesome. And definitely reach out as well to some EAPs like Health Assured.
Yeah.
Reach out to Health Assured, and there's another one. Speak to someone at Perk Box. I'm just doing all this through memory, by the way. Because Perk Box, PERKBOX.
Oh, Perk Box. I thought you said box.
Yeah. Because they they partner with other companies to provide a holistic solution to corporates.
Yeah.
Thank you, Sue.
Thank you.
Sue. Charlotte and Cassandra, thanks for joining us. It's a shame you've got to drop off, but we'll, you know, you can come back and watch the replay for this last little bit. So Stacia was asking earlier, how are you using Twitter? Because you mentioned get on Twitter. It's all happening on Twitter.
Yes.
Michelle, what are you doing on it?
So
How do we use it?
Me, you know, but I'm anal, right? So I don't expect everyone to be like me, right? But what I do, the last time I went on to Twitter, so I get notifications. I put certain keywords. The last one I saw was for Forbes, not to work for Forbes, but they were looking for people who wanted to write for Forbes. Now, Forbes are very ancestral, right? So you have to be part of an elite, or you've got to be part of their council, but they had expanded it and opened it up. Why? Because they have a new editor. So when they have new intakes, they then expand their offering. Also, I use Twitter to find decision makers. So I may go on there and I'll say, does anyone know who is the head of HR for, the last one I did was for BP? Does anyone? And do you know that people go on there and they say, oh, this is the person, and they put their details in. I was just astounded.
Yes.
I was astounded. But what
people will just be sharing your business.
Yeah,
just to...
I'm like, okay, I like Twitter. But I've also, in the toolkit, I've given 5 particular sites that you can go on, and it will tell you exactly the pathways, the email pathways for specific brands. So that
is really interesting. Somebody was actually asking about the toolkit. Does it include an example proposal?
No, but if you want one, just send me a direct message.
Go, Michelle. Claire wants to know, where can you find where people are looking for guest bloggers?
Oh, did you not
apart from the crazy list that you provided us with, is there like some structure that like she basically wants to get into Michelle's head, open it up and go, how did you figure this out, Michelle? Teach me how to fish, Michelle.
Well, so that slide, that shows all the current ones. There might be some other ones, but that is hot off the press. And you know where I got it from? I can't tell you where I got it from. I can't tell you that, because I got it from somebody who actually works in for these blogs. And she shared it with me, and I said, can I share it with some people? And she was like, how many? And I said, oh, there might be only about 50 people. So you are part of it. All right, guys.
So basically, this is part of, you get this because of Michelle's polo, etc. Like this is your first club you've just joined, and she's just given it you. So I would, if you didn't screen grab that when the replay goes out, take a screenshot and put it somewhere safe and make use out of it.
Yeah.
I want to say, I think her name said Eve Joseph. I hope I've said your name right, darling. What if you are in a new program, or you are new in the game? How do you manage that in terms of examples and case studies and credibility? So for those of us who are diving in this fresh, hot, new, you know, we don't have Michelle's credibility. We can't say Amazon's hired us 3 times and been flown to Dubai and all of this. We don't have that. How do we manage that?
Or go in through doing a lunch and learn or an executive roundtable. Do that and use that as what do you call it, as an example to showcase. So, or what you can do is find a smaller company and to say that you want to pilot a project that you're working on with them. So you need to have something. Especially if you're going to work for the bigger corporates. But let me tell you something. Do you know, I think, let me not lie, Michelle. I was going to tell you this. In all the corporate engagements I've ever had, only 2 people, 2 organizations have asked me, have I done it for somebody else? Only 2. And the reason being, I think, is because I am very visible online, that my visibility and credibility spoke for itself. So they didn't have to ask me, have I done this for other organizations? So what I'm saying there is there's 2 things. You can either go into a company and say, let me run a lunch and learn and get you to experience what it's like to work with me within 45 minutes or an hour. Yeah, you do that. Or you can go to a company and deliver your services for a low cost, so below market value. Yeah, because your market value might be here, but you're new to the market, so you better start there, right? To get your foot in the door. You do a good job. You get your testimonials, get your case studies. I try and ask my client to do videos. Not all of them want to do videos. That's fair enough. If they do you a written one, that's fine. But I ask them if I can use it as a case study. And then I use that to go for slightly bigger organizations. But I'm always building my profile online so that my profile will be my credibility. So they don't need to keep asking me, who have I worked with?
Super. So there's 2 parts to that. There's, if you build your profile enough, often they're not going to ask anyway.
Yeah.
And if you're starting out and you want to get those first few case study clients, you've got a few examples of how to do that. And then the last question that had come in during the presentation was from Heather, and she says, is being on Clubhouse a good showcase place for getting into corporates, or is it more for attracting SMEs and entrepreneurs? Should we be looking at Clubhouse? For those of you who are less familiar with Clubhouse, it is an audio only social media platform that came out probably about 2 years ago now.
Yeah.
So what's your thoughts on that one, Michelle?
I think it depends on what room you're in. To be fair, it really does depend, because remember this, when we're thinking of corporates, you're thinking of the building, the organization, but corporates are made up of people. So effectively, there's people on Clubhouse who are employees. There's many of them. If an employee hears you on Clubhouse, they might think, oh, actually, we're going through some changes in our organization, and reach out to you. So yes, definitely speak about it. I was on Clubhouse and somebody sent me a message on Instagram and said, oh, Michelle, I've just heard you on Clubhouse. Do you think you'll be able to come into my organization and deliver what you talked about on Clubhouse? She's not the decision maker by no stretch of the imagination. So what I needed to do with her is find out a little bit more about the organization, give me some intelligence, and then you let me know. Then I asked her to let me know who I need to be speaking to. So yeah, definitely Clubhouse, LinkedIn, TikTok, everywhere. When people say corporates are only on LinkedIn, no, they are everywhere, because people are everywhere. Remember that people are everywhere, but you might have a platform where you show up to share your thought leadership work. That's the difference.
Yeah, it's understanding what people's mindset is on the different platforms. But if it resonates and they're looking, it doesn't kind of matter what platform you're on in some ways. Oh, hey, Debbie, thanks. Somebody else was, Sherry, I've got you, babe. You're next up. I'm just going to scroll back to, I feel like I've missed a couple of questions. Somebody was asking, did you miss something, and had we spoken about a list before? Yes, you did miss it, and we did speak about it, but you can screenshot it. And then I think we might have answered this one. Can you charge for lunch and learns if you have if you need a case study? And then Sherry, you're up next.
Yeah, you definitely can. Me personally, I only use lunch and learns as a strategy to enter into new markets. So because I know they don't know me, I am happy to do my lunch and learn complimentary. That's the word, not free of charge. You're doing it complimentary. So I will say there's a fee to it, but because we are new to each other, I want you to experience me. I want your people to experience me. I'm happy to forego and give this to you complimentary, but you can definitely charge, and you don't charge huge amount. The whole point of it, it's got to be a low cost and a low touch point for the prospective client to get to experience you. But yes, you can do, most certainly.
Fabulous. Who did Sherry drop off? Sherry, did you have a question still? You're still here. Okay, cool. I think it's because you put your hand down.
Oh yeah,
So where did you go?
Yeah. No, I just wanted to really chime in and reinforce the whole, just kind of show up. I had showed up on a webinar. It's an organization. I'm here in the U.S. and it's called WeBank, Women Business Enterprise Network. And my internet was being janky. Just gonna like English here. It was cold. I had a hoodie on, all that good stuff. But I showed up, I participated, I made mention of something, and it wasn't a high ticket, but within 2 days, they reached out to me and I had a $3,000 speaking engagement virtually. Just because I said yes, you know, it was talking about the 5 generations in the same workplace, the Great Resignation era. So whether it's Clubhouse, Lavelda, you rock on Clubhouse, but you know, we have a girlfriend in common. Jen Buck that I love. We go back to the old national contracting days, but just show up and contribute. And, you know, it's just that one thing that you said. And she was like, oh my God, you were an answer to a prayer. So if we just make known that we're here and we know stuff, it goes far and wide. So I just wanted to kind of support that comment that you made. Thank you.
Brilliant, Sherry. I mean, it's a really important point, because I think sometimes we make things super hard for ourselves, thinking we've got to do a lot. And it's easy for people to make decisions based on who they can see. It's really difficult when they just don't, that level of commitment isn't that. You don't have to be doing everything in all of the places all of the time, but a little something in some of the places consistently, that'll do the trick for you. Isabella is asking, how much would you charge for a lunch and learn? What kind of fees? You said low entry, Michelle. We want specifics.
Well, you know,
my crowd does not come here for wishy-washy. You said specific and relevant. We want specifics. How much?
My question, I will have to come back and ask Isabella. It depends on how much you charge in terms of your own hourly rate, because I can't give you a figure. I can, if you ask me how much would it be to put a work program together of this length, of this, I can give you numbers every day, all day. But for a lunch and learn, which is an hour, you'd start with your base rate, and depends on how many people. Let's say if you, most lunch and learns, well, it's not most, but like if you've got like 30 people in a room, you can either charge one fee of, I don't know, £500, £400, and you charge that to the company, and then that may work out to be like £30 per head or something. Do you understand? It's got to be a low price, because they don't care that your pricing for the lunch and learn is low. What they care about is when you're delivering the real solution, the pricing of that. So lunch and learn, I'm not really precious about pricing around that. I would say just go for a figure that is not going to make them balk at it and think, gosh, I don't even know this chick, but yet she's trying to charge me heaven and earth, you know. And it's 45 minutes of your time. And if it's enough, you know, just do enough to pay your petrol and keep it moving. You want to get in. You want to get in, because the whole basis of your lunch and learn or your executive roundtable is the results from it. Because you're going to go back into the company and report on the lunch and learn. That's the nugget. That's where the money comes in.
Yeah, I love what you said there. It's kind of thinking about where this fits into the bigger picture, because I think sometimes we're so keen to get the fee that we forget that actually sometimes there's a bigger, this is the little, like, you know, bait on the end of the hook, right? We don't mind losing this one. It's okay. It can go. Like, we're using it to get the bigger fish. Melanie wants to know, whom do we provide these lunch and learns to? And then Felicia, we're over to you.
So your lunch and learns, it depends on whether you want to do it for a specific department, or it could be a specific group. So, you know, some of these larger groups, they have network groups, employee resource networks. So you could do it for a specific group. If you're doing it in person, the company will pay, or the department pays for the lunch. If you're doing it online, they can just eat at their desk while they're listening to you. So in terms of the delivery of it, it can be in person or it can be online. I've done both. And the one I did for Amazon, for example, I did that in person, and it was over their lunch period, and I had about 50 women in the room. And yeah, and they paid for their lunch. And then I've done it for Legal and General, and it was online, and there was about 34 people. So it all depends. Like Lavelda just said, I'm more interested in the results of that and the next steps. I just make sure the lunch and learn's good enough that they get to feel me. I want to get their feedback. I get them to do a survey, all of that. The survey is very, very important at the end of your lunch and learn or your executive roundtable, because then that dictates what the company want or what the employees want, and you can feed that back to whoever brought you in.
See, that was just another little nugget, Michelle. You're sneaky with them. You just dropped another one in. If you're going to do the lunch and learn, you need a survey at the end of it, which helps you to go back to have the conversation that creates the momentum next, right? Don't just do it and then like still do guesswork. All right. It's part of a bigger process. That was a nugget. I have to pull it out there, because you just dropped that like it was like,
I'm just dropping it. People just have to catch it when it falls. Catch it when it falls.
People are under there with a sheet like, we got it. And then I think we'll end with Felicia's question, because I'm looking at the time. We're pretty much where we said we were going to be. There were loads of questions. If you haven't got the toolkit yet, I'll drop the link in here again. $97 is an absolute steal for what you're going to get if you're serious for getting into this space. Felicia, over to you. What's your question, doll?
Amazing. Thank you so much, Lavelda. What an awesome room to be in today. I have a question regarding negotiation of fees. I'll give a real example. Last week I was off. I sought out an opportunity probably 2 weeks ago, but long and short, I literally filled out the application. I had a response the next morning for the speaking opportunity, but of course they came with your rate is a little high for us. We're not for profit, so of course they have a different table or whatever the case may be. But my question would be how to approach, generally speaking, when you put your rate out there as you respond to a proposal. And if they come back, of course, I know the reason, I've done the research, and we could do products, we could do other options potentially. But what is your advice on how to just initially approach, especially because we're dealing with digital communication, emails, and I just feel like unless, if you don't know people, of course, you just never have that full scope. Thank you so much.
Okay, so if I'm making sure I've got the question correct, is how do you approach the pricing conversation, right?
That is correct, because if you're sending emails back and forth, I think it's a little more complex. I'd rather talk to people. That's my way. But because this was just me doing this cold proposal, for lack of a better term, I would like to know how you would think is the best way to handle that.
All right, shall I tell you what I do? So when I'm going back and forth by email, one of those emails is going to have a video on it. So I usually just use Loom. And with Loom, I will talk through the proposal. So they've got the written version, but now they can see me on camera. And I will literally say, as you can see, the proposal goes through the 3 options that I think will work really well with you. And if you are stuck on in terms of pricing, I can give you an idea of what someone like me with my caliber, my credibility, and my years of experience in the field would do, would charge for something like this. So my starting rate is £3,500, and that will get you A, B, and C. So at least you have an idea, so we can start negotiating from that point. If there's anything else you would like to discuss, I am more than happy to have that conversation. I want this to be a win-win situation. You win, we win, and your employees win. That's it.
I love it. Thank you.
The nuggets, Michelle, the nuggets. My goodness.
Remember,
I love that.
Credibility, you've got to remind them of your credibility, how long you've been in the field, how many people you've worked with, even if you've worked with entrepreneurs, it's still people, yeah? So you can say how many people I've worked with, what the journey was like. They need to be reminded, and the value. And another nugget for you, sell the value. And this is what I mean by selling the value, because people are very wishy-washy about value. You say to them, although you're asking me to do this piece of work, let me show you tangible value outcomes. Then you'll say, your staff are going to be more productive. So we can increase their productivity. If it's at 10%, I can help you get to 20% with my intervention. If people have low morale, this is what it's going to do. So you're talking about tangible value. And that means to them, the value to them is you've met your targets because your team are happy. When you're doing your performance management with them, when you're doing their appraisals, you can give them good feedback. You're a good manager, the good leader, they're happy. All of these adds on, so that you're now giving value, not only to the employees, but you're giving value to the person you're speaking to, because they have to reach targets as well.
Relevance and preciseness. I love what you said as well about making sure that you continually drop nuggets. I remember having somebody who was crazy fighting me on my price, and I just started dropping in testimonials. I was like, listen, these folks, you don't have to hire me. And I understand if it's entirely outside of your budget, but these folks seem to have found me okay. Like, just little subtle things that I'm not going to argue with you, but if it was okay for them, you may want to reconsider whether or not it's okay for you, right? Because there was a saying when I used to work in sales, and they always used to say, nobody ever got fired for hiring IBM, right? And what it meant was there are certain companies that built so much credibility around them that if you hired them, even if they screwed up, you weren't going to get fired for that hire. But if you went and hired the little company run by Joe Blogs around the corner and they screwed up, that was a bad decision. But IBM, I was an error this time, right? The big company was just a little meh, right? And so I say that because I think sometimes we underestimate the weight of how quickly a conversation gets accelerated by being able to reference previous work. I have been on calls with people and literally watched the tone change in the moment when I drop a name. Yeah. I'm like, whoa, okay, we just knocked a good hour off this call. Like, I don't have to prove myself anymore, because that credibility link, if you've got it, use them. Yes. That already says if they were good enough to be hired by, if this company's been working with them, then I have greater confidence that they understand my market, what I need, where I'm at, and they can support me. If I'm the first time they're doing this, it feels like I need to ask more questions. Yeah. So if you don't want to have to jump through the hoops, drop a couple of names every now and then. And Isabella's last question was just asking, how can you guarantee the percentage increase? So when you're talking about, with improved productivity, or are you giving guarantees, or how are you positioning that?
I don't give guarantees unless I know I've done it before. So what I do is, instead of saying, I can guarantee you this, what I say is, what I've done with another organization, we got this result, we got that result, productivity increased by that %. So I tell them those types of figures. I don't make any guarantees, because I don't want to put myself in a position that I've made a promise and I can't deliver on that, because whatever solution you provide is not just based on what you're delivering, it also is based on the employee and their behavior and their response. So they are part of the success. Yeah. And if they're not playing ball, then you don't get the results that we want. So this is why, after you do your proposal, always have a kickoff meeting. 10th nugget for the day.
We're on nugget 5,000, Michelle.
Always have a kick-off meeting where you say, this is what I'm bringing to the table and my expectations. I can only get you the results if the people involved are working at the level that I need them to work, so we all get the results. Because a lot of our work that we do is dependent on other people. So if you're doing coaching, you have to make sure that the people you're coaching are coachable, or else they can't get coached through their solution. So that's part of the mandate and agreements that I put in all my agreements, and I establish those agreement metrics at the kickoff meeting.
Oh, Michelle, I mean, if I kept you here longer, by the end of it, we'd know 90% of what's in your brain. I mean, thank you so much. Honestly, I love that you're so, I love that there's people in my community that are just so open and giving. And I wish that when I started, I'd met more people who just cut through the BS, cut through all of the like whistles and bells and telling you this, that, and the other. And it's just more like, here's the information. This is what you need to do. Honestly, the biggest compliment that you can give is if you're getting the toolkit, use it. You've been here, take the information. Look, Michelle dropped like, 500 million nuggets. You ain't gonna be able to do all of them today. But what you can do is sit down and say, in the next week, here's my action plan, and do it. Because otherwise, this is just information. It's not going to do anything for your life. You know, we've just been here blowing hot air for the last hour and a half. The biggest compliment is take at least one thing and just implement it, play with it, see where you go. There's lots of stuff for you to have a look at here. Go back and watch the replay. If you haven't got the toolkit at $97, I'd say get it before Michelle figures out where she knocked her head, gets it sorted, and whacks that price up to closer to 500. Like, you know, I don't know it will be that later on. She might sleep on this. It will wake up in the morning and be like, I don't know what I was thinking.
Launch it here. Yeah, and yeah, it will definitely go up because I'm going to add more to it. There's always things I just thinking I need to share that, but there's you know, for everybody who is left here, I really want you to just choose one or two of the strategies and double down on it. Don't need to do all of it, just double down and watch the results. Watch the results. You've got to do it.
Got to do it. Thank you so much, Michelle. Thanks for all of you who've joined live, if you're watching the replay. Brilliant. The same applies. And if you've bought the toolkit, congratulations. And thank you so much for voting for yourself. We want to see more incredible, awesome beings like you on stages globally. I have like a mission. I want to be doing panels with lots of diverse people. So hence why I create these spaces to go, here's the information that will help you to be on those stages. Please take it and run with it. Until next time, I don't have another one of these booked yet. If you're on my mailing list, which most of you I think are, just watch out for the emails. I'm normally really clear when there's some sort of masterclass. These ones with guest speakers is always completely free for you to attend. And I'm attempting to do one about once a month. I don't know if there'll be one next month because I'm traveling, but it's normally around about once a month. All you got to do is register and come join us. Until next time, thanks again, Michelle. Love you, ladies and gentlemen and humans beautifully. Mwah. Ciao for now. Bye, folks.